Salutes. Top of the morning. Welcome to the Real Big Fruit Podcast. I am your host, Big Fruit. I am the Michael Jordan of recording. It is top of the AM, and I am here today to present to you my story of UpTown, aka Dame Green. Harlem, stand up. Yeah, man. I know y'all saw the post on YouTube. Y'all saw the post on my social media. UpTown was a student of Rich Porter. No, this is not a story of Rich Porter. No, this is not an interview about Rich Porter. This is my story of UpTown, aka Dame Green, who happens to be a student of the late great Rich Porter. May Rich Porter rest in peace. My story of UpTown goes back to 1987 when I first went to Spofford. Coming to Spofford, I was a young youth out of Brooklyn, New York. The only thing I ever knew about Harlem was the Apollo and the Cotton Club. And at that time in my life, I had been to the Apollo. I went to see New Edition when they performed at the Apollo for the very first time. Yes, I was in the building for that. Shout out my guys. Shout out Bobby Brown. That's my guy. I don't play when it comes to Bobby. So that's the only thing I knew about Harlem. As well as the Harlem Renaissance through history in school, learning that. But I didn't know much about Harlem until I met Damon Green. I met UpTown in Spofford in 87. I'm going to have to say UpTown is maybe a year or two older than I. And when we was in Spofford, like I always told you, man, I'm always the youngest nigga around. And all the older dudes always take to me. I had a phone conversation where older dudes always told me, yo, bro, we always looked at you as our equal. We never looked at you as a little nigga. And my thing is this, I appreciate the love and respect, but I always know who my elders are. I know where I come from. You understand what I'm saying? So when I went to Spofford, there was a lot of dudes in there who I considered my elders. Because I was a baby, man. And UpTown was one of them. He took me under his wing. He schooled me to that Spofford shit. And we was off and running with our friendship. But like I said, them dudes was a little older than me, so I was never in the dormitory with them dudes. I was always in the dormitory with the younger dudes. But UpTown, he was on the B side with Mo Dog and Big Jamel and Dre and motherfucking Artie and all them dudes. So UpTown was in that mix with all these Brooklyn niggas. But he was a Harlem boy. And let me tell you, man, from the moment I met him, he screamed Harlem. He gave me my educational lesson in Harlem. And from the moment I met that boy, he screamed Harlem. If I'm not mistaken, he screamed names such as Rich Porter, rest in peace, and other legendary figures out of Harlem. I ain't know who the fuck he was talking about. I was just listening and learning. That was 87. 87, I went off, did my juvie. Now remember, I had an 18-month sentence. I might have did 15 months. I was a baby. All them dudes, UpTown, Mo Dog, Artie, all them dudes, rest in peace, Artie, all them dudes ended up going to Harlem Valley, which was a secure DFY facility. Because all them dudes had 1 to 3s or more. So I'm assuming UpTown probably had a 1 to 3, 2 to 6, some crazy shit like that. He been knocked down since 87. I ain't running to UpTown again until 1991 on Rackett's Island. Now, I come through in 91. He already been in the building since 90, so he's seasoned at this shit. Not to mention that Harlem Valley, that shit was a maximum security prison. That shit was like Rackett's Island. And then all them niggas from Harlem Valley, DFY, them niggas on Rackett's Island again. So them niggas was a little seasoned more than me when I touched the island. But I'm Big Fruit and I'm gonna do what I do. So I just did that shit immediately. But I came through at a time when it was that Brooklyn Bronx shit going on. Crazy. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, son. No matter how much I got involved in that Brooklyn Bronx beef, it was one dude from Harlem, the Bronx, whatever the fuck you want to call it, who I never looked at sideways, who I never even thought about transgression on, who if he had a problem, I would more likely take his side in his position, and that was UpTown. Not that he needed the nigga to take his side or his position, because UpTown was giving it up. I don't give a fuck where you from, who you were, where you from, who you knew, who you was down with. If you got into a problem with Up, he was gonna handle you. Straight jacket. I don't give a fuck where you was from. It was only one beef he had that left niggas like, damn, son, what the fuck? And that was with the homie Dubo. Yeah, man, homie Dubo in UpTown, they had a little something. That Brooklyn Bronx shit was going off. It led to the point where Un and Dubo kind of like got into some shit. It didn't go nowhere because Dubo, he was part of the trilogy. Rest in peace, Mo Dog, Dubo, they was crimies on the case. And Mo Dog and UpTown is air fucking tight. Airtight. So that shit ain't go nowhere. And I'm glad it didn't go nowhere. But other than that beef, man, niggas ain't never looked at UpTown no other way because he was family. And he's family to this day. You understand what I'm saying? So in Ragged Salad, he stood his square. Even when he got into the situation with the homie OP, rest in peace, OP. Ain't nobody try to get involved with that shit. UpTown will handle his business, and that he did. You understand what I'm saying? Rest in peace, OP. Rest in peace. But UpTown was a different type of dude, man. And let me tell you, man, when we went up north, we did our bids. He had the 25. I had the 16 to 32. On Ragged Salad, 9-1, 9-2, a lot of bing time. We ain't never rocking population together. We was always in the bing together. I remember one main bing. We was in one main bing, north side. I never forget this shit. It was a quiet day. That nigga UpTown got on his gate. I ain't know the nigga could sing. That nigga was singing that Ready for the World shit. Is he Ready for the World? That Let Me Love You Down. Yeah, that was his shit. UpTown got on the gate and hit them high notes one day. I guess he was in that motherfucking cell crying. That's my guy. That's my guy, UpTown. Real talk, that's my brother. And the funny shit about it, man, when we went on our journeys to do our bids, like I said, he had the 25 to life. I had the 16 to 32. So it's around 1998. He got about 8 years in on his bid. I got about 6 on mine. We both got a long time to do. You understand what I'm saying? And the reality of it is, we either gonna get some rhythm on a pill or we gonna do this motherfucking time. One thing about Damon Green, though, boy, I tell you, man, that nigga screamed Harlem his whole fucking bid. He let niggas know, I'm going back to Harlem. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Harlem, Harlem, Harlem. Yo, he used to get on my nerves with that shit, son. Because mind you, my only real education of Harlem is from him. I don't know nothing about Harlem other than what I read, what I see on TV. It's 1998. Mace is on fire. You can't tell Harlem niggas nothing. And UpTown letting that shit be known. Harlem. Harlem. So we and Sullivan in 9-8, he getting on my last nerves with this shit. Harlem this, Harlem that. And I'm like, yo, Up. Nigga, we got all this motherfucking time. Don't nobody in Harlem know you no more. That shit is over. He said, nigga, Harlem. Harlem gonna always love UpTown. Harlem gonna always respect UpTown. Harlem gonna always know who the fuck UpTown be. Man, me and this nigga used to argue in the yard like cats and dogs. Cause I ain't wanna hear that shit, man. We got all this motherfucking time, man. You ain't going home to be no motherfucking Harlem legend, no Harlem celebrity. That's how I looked at it in my younger days doing my bit. Let me tell you something, son. That nigga ain't never stopped believing. That nigga ain't never stopped letting it be known. Harlem. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, son. That nigga did his whole bid like he was on 132nd Street. Harlem. Word to mother, that's my guy, man. You know what I'm saying? He ended up doing, what, 27 out of that? And like he said, man, back to Harlem. Back to doing what he do. And I see it. He lived up to every fucking thing he said he was going to do. He said he was going back to Harlem. He was going to show Harlem love. And Harlem was going to show him love. And that's exactly what it is. Shout out to Damon Green, a.k.a. UpTown, my brother and my comrade. Now, I know y'all like to get caught up in the shoot 'em up bang bang shit, right? The nigga get busy and all this other crazy shit, right? But I'm gonna sit here and say, my most proudest moment of my brother UpTown is the fact that I watched him be a father his whole bid. He was a father to his son his whole bid. And that's something that I'm very proud of him for. He helped raise his son from behind that prison wall. He sent his son off to, I want to say, the service, if not the service, some type of military academy or whatever. And he put that work in and he completed it, he accomplished it, all that. And UpTown is a proud father. So I'm a proud brother and comrade of UpTown's. And the second accomplishment that I'm so proud of him is the fact that he's out there in Harlem, boots on the ground, working in his community. Yeah, he works in the community every day. He's boots on the ground in his community. His career puts him in his community. Yeah, UpTown is boots on the ground in his community. And he's also giving back to his community. Thanksgiving, Christmas, you name it. He out there doing what he do. Like I told you, the man is a student of the late great Rich Porter. So he doing what he got to do to represent himself and the late great Rich Porter. So shout out to UpTown Damon. That's my guy. Real talk. He's a hell of a guy, man. Hell of a guy. Brooklyn got love for him. We treat him like he ours. And he's the one dude who bring us to Harlem and let Harlem know these niggas is good. Don't believe what you hear. These niggas is good. That's my guy, UpTown. Shout out to UpTown. Shout out to Boogie Blind. Shout out to my man Bam. Free Rush Pacino. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to jump on here and give my respect to my boy UpTown because that's my guy. I know Harlem was waiting for it to see what I was going to say or what I was going to do. But like I said, this is not a story about Rich Porter. This was not an interview about Rich Porter. This was not an interview of UpTown. This is my story of UpTown. Yeah, man. Everybody know Fruit, man. Everybody know Fruit, man. And me and UpTown got an extensive history since we was babies. And can't nothing break that bond. We all come from an era where real recognized real. So all this other foolish shit and bickering shit going on, it holds no weight. Salute to my man UpTown, and I appreciate you. I love you, and this one is for you, homie. Salute.